In this video we're going to look at shape keys or morphs. So they're things that you can use to make changes to your character, like expression or blinks. Now I've actually set some up here. You set up a basis one first. It's in the mode with the little triangle. It's the data mode. So you set up a basis one first, and you have to do this process at the very end of your modelling. So all the modelling's already finished, all the texturing's already finished. Otherwise, these don't work. If you change the model, it wrecks the morphs. Basically, what it does is it allows you to go in and make changes to the mesh, to the modelling, and then use sliders to activate those changes. For instance, I've set up some eyelids here to blink. So if I select the blink, I've got a slider down here where I can make the character close its eyes. I just modelled that with the eyes closed, and this just morphs between the two point positions or vertex positions. So these can be animated. You right click and you can insert keyframes or clear keyframes, etc. If I slide along timeline here, you see I've find the character, he's walking. If I move along with the character, I'll just zoom in a little bit, you'll see that I've put a blink in here. So to do that, I lined up the spot where I wanted the blink, I right clicked and I added a keyframe. It goes yellow. As soon as I move off it, it goes green. And then I move to where the eye would be closed. I slid it across. A keyframe appeared. I added another one by just right-clicking and adding a keyframe. And then I moved 3 frames forward to where the eyes were open and slid it back. So it moves between the open, closed position, closed, and open again. 3 frames between each. To do a nice slow blink, I'll just play that. So pretty quick, I'll do it again. He's walking along and he blinks. Now, it's good to put a blink sort of in between movements or at the end of movements. Always at the end of a shot, it's nice to have a character blink. Even blink a couple of times. It just makes them look alive. Okay, so let's see how we did that. Then I'm going to delete these ones that I've got here. So there's a plus and minus over here. I'll just delete these ones and we'll start again. So to begin with, I'll just move back to frame 0. It's always a good idea to do that. Now I'll go plus, and that sets up a basis one. So if you do need a small minor change, you can come back and do it on that one, but you're better not to make any changes at this point. So I'll go plus again. Let's do the mouth this time. So I'll double click and I'll type in mouth. And I'll come over here, I'll right click on the character, I'll go tab to go into edit mode. Notice it goes back to the pose position, which is good. I'll come in here to the mouth, and I'm just going to open the mouth for this demo. Now, if I come over here to options, I can switch on mirror. This is just sort of a temporary mirror. Let's just see if it works. It doesn't always work, this mirror. I've just got to set my pivot point back to medium. I could see it was missing, that's how I knew it wasn't there. So, yeah, that seems to be working okay. So let's select a few more faces here to open up the mouth. I'll grab those as well. I'm just going to switch on this proportional editing tool. It just allows a sphere of influence from the polygons that I'm moving. Watch, I'll just do it. So my sphere is too big, so I've got to reduce my sphere down using the wheel on the mouse, and now it'll just affect those polygons. So it's moving the teeth as well. I'm just going to come up the top and move that open a little bit as well. Let's have a little look. I think we'll open a little bit more at the front. Just pull this lip down a little bit more. You can see our tongue back there now. Let's have a look. Okay, that'll do for this demo. So I'll just go tab. Now as I go tab, it goes back and the mouth closes, but it's put in this slider here. And I can just open and close the mouth using the slider. Again, if I want to animate that, so I come in a bit, he's walking along. Again, I'm going to do it at the point where he looks over. It's not really a smile, but he'll just open his mouth a bit. So I'll right click to insert a keyframe. It appears down on the timeline. Move forward, say 5 frames. Slide the slider across. Now you don't have to go all the way. You can use it at any point. And you can also mix these sliders. So I'll pull that down and I'll right click to put a keyframe in. And I'll move forward another few, and we'll close her up. I won't close it totally, I'll leave it a little bit open and insert a keyframe. So if I scrub that on the timeline, you'll see he's sort of taking a little breath or going high, high. Now there are phonemes that you can do for mouth positions to have dialogue, but that's a bit beyond the scope of this course, so we won't cover that. But if anyone's interested, I'll advise them directly. So you can add as many morphs here as you want, and they don't have to be just on the head. They can be, say, on a robot's claws or fingers, or the chest if you wanted breathing, the ears if you wanted them to wiggle. Or expressions. Let's do a quick expression. So I'm going to go back to the basis. I'm just going to rewind to 0 again. Zoom in. I'm going to make him smile a bit more. So and I'll apply it to the mouth open. So I'm going to go plus to create a new shape key. I'll double click and type in smile. So you can have smile, anger, all sorts of expressions in here that you can just slide across. I'll go tab to go into edit mode. I'll come in and I just want to really pull up the sides here a little bit just to give him a bit more of a smile happening. I've still got my proportional editing on. I'll pull that up and that's looking pretty good. We'll go tab. We'll just check that smile using the slider, and yeah, that looks okay. So let's go to the position where the mouth was, which is here, and we move open, it opens. So let's put a bit more of a smile into that mouth opening. I'll right click to insert a keyframe. I'll move forward to where it's supposed to be open, and I'll slide the smiler open, and that looks much better now. Yes, and I'll right click to put a keyframe in. I'll move forward to where it's supposed to close. And this time I might just leave the smile on there. So he just doesn't close the smile, it just continues. So you can see he opens his mouth, does a bit of a smile, and then continues on. He's not blinking anymore because I deleted those ones. Okay, now just before I finish this video, just a short one, there's up here there's a scene control. I just switch on all of my layers here. Or upside down, that's where we can't see it. Okay, so there's our character. It's going to go A to deselect. What we can do is we can create new scenes using all of these parts. So if I click on this plus here, you'll see I can create a new scene. I can copy settings, I can link objects, I can link object data, or I can make a full copy. So a full copy makes them all independent. If I link objects, it'll add a new scene, and the objects, if you change them in one, it'll change them in the other. I like to do a full copy because you can copy and paste the models between the scenes as well. So I'll do a full copy. You see it's created scene 1. Okay, just to show you the change. So I come in here on scene 1 and delete the roof of the house. I can come in back to scene and it's still there. So I go back to scene 1. I'll just undo the delete of my house roof. If I go into the animation mode and say I want to change the action, I could get rid of the wave in this scene, for instance, by going X, get rid of the stand. And if I go back to scene 1, it's still there. So I actually did that the wrong way around then, so I'll have to remember to leave it there. So I'm just going to save my work. Now a little bit about the nonlinear action editor just before I go as well, because some people have been having trouble. To clear all of this junk action out, just come down and click on the arrow button. You have to have the rig selected. That reveals your actions. Now I can right click to select any of these actions. If I want to edit an action, I go Tab and I can get to the original keyframes. I can go Tab again back in the nonlinear editor to go back to my action. Be careful of these mute and lock buttons. Just be careful about those. Obviously if you mute, he won't wave. If I unmute, he will wave. Hard to see, but he is waving there. And don't forget also that you've got this transition down here that you can add. You can move strips around and add transitions. And also over here in the active strip, this exploration hold forward. If I go into the wave, yeah, if you have actions that just stop working, just play around with this hold forward. Try changing it to nothing. And that might work. Also, see how I've got this blend in and out on that action. This is very important to make the action smooth. See, I've blended it in and out here. And it just makes him smoothly go into that wave. So transitions and blends ins and out are ways to smooth your action. Okay, I hope that was helpful. We will see you next time. Actually, one more thing. See up here it's got reload, trusted, ignore. What happens is, in the user preferences, it'll switch off the rigging and switch off on file the auto-run Python scripts. And that's what makes that occur. If that happens, just switch them back on, save, and just go ignore. The only reason you need those is when you go N, you can get to the rigging controls down here. I'd have to revert to do that. Let's just do that. Revert, and they should be down here. Okay, hope that was useful. See you next time.